Hello, thanks for joining me. It is hot today, so please bear with me. I changed the light in here, so I think this is working out a little bit better. It's kind of less bright. It's a nicer color. I think this is going to work out pretty good. I'm going to do some more Dreamcast, Japanese Dreamcast pickups here. Like I said, I've been getting behind on those, and I want to pick some more up, so I wanted to go over some more of these. And I'm also just kind of on a Dreamcast playing kick. I'm actually going through Sister Princess a little bit, checking that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Akihabara Dennou-Gumi, Patapies, or maybe Patapies. Let's take a look. So you may know this series as Cyber Team in Akihabara, and apparently they are called Patapies. That's actually a big part of the first episode, is the main character getting her own Patapie. So here we have a game that's about you getting your own Patapie. So here we are at the Patapie shop, and we've been giving this guy a hard time. The three-choice segment that we saw earlier was where I picked, oh hey, why don't I buy some parts and try building one myself, because apparently you don't have enough money and you're trying to kind of shortchange this guy. So this dude comes along and he's like, oh hey, well, you know, I'll give you this Patapie if you work with me and help me out with my research. So basically he goes on a long-winded explanation about how you have to like collect hearts. So you can choose from this node structure here, and you essentially have competitions with different people. Competing with this girl will raise our physical attributes. We could have competed with the other person to raise mental attributes, so there's sort of that aspect to it. But basically we just do this little mini game. I don't know if there's other mini games, but we pick a sequence. So here we're gonna do like left, right, left, left on the control pad, and then we want to hit the button when this little blip, it goes over that orange spot on the bar at the top. So we do that, and you can see I'm screwing it up because I'm really bad at it. But you know, occasionally we have to do things like answer quiz questions, which I did earlier. It just seems a little weird, but what we're doing is we're raising the like meter on the right and trying not to raise the dislike meter on the left. And that's it. If you do it correctly, you get some hearts. We have 6 months. We're trying to get, I think, 500 hearts in this. Obviously, if you go through all the levels, that's what you get. Next, it's Happy Lesson. This is kind of the real Happy Lesson game this time. So come to find out, I'd actually seen an anime of this, and I'd completely forgotten about it until I started playing this game. I had no idea about this game or what to expect, but the basic premise is that you were orphaned, and I guess you just turned 18, so you're an adult, and I guess you inherit your parents' home. So you're coming back to it for the first time in years, and you're greeted by this woman to start off with here. She's like, welcome home. This is, you're like, huh? It's like, who is this beautiful woman here? And so you find these 5 women. They are all your teachers, and they are all claiming to be your mothers now. They, you know, I guess you've been going to this school, and you know, your grades aren't doing well, so apparently these teachers all got together and decided to move in with you and try to provide you a good home and better discipline, and to get you on track with your life and your studies. So the most ridiculous premise. And not only that, but the characters, you know, they all have some sort of visual sort of you know, iconic thing about their dress or something. You've got the shrine maiden, you have this sort of, you know, childlike girl, you've got kind of the mature button-down blouse look. It's just completely silly. So, but you do have a chance to choose during your day, like some places where you want to go. So here we go to the art room, and we trigger a scene there, which was quite funny. And we do have 3 choice segments here. Here these girls in class are asking, oh, you know, are you living on your own now? And you're like, no, I'm living with 6 of my teachers. And they're like, oh my god, what? Of course, this is one of the teachers in this class. She's like, no, you're living on your own, right? And you're like, oh yeah, I guess that's kind of a secret. But Really funny premise. I'd forgotten I'd seen the anime for this. It's actually very funny and I really enjoyed it, so this game might be pretty cool. This one is Castle Fantasia Seima Taisen. So the subtitle means something like Holy Magic War, and it's kind of a like a kind of a stock fantasy premise. But here we have these two guys fighting at the beginning here, and you get to choose like if you want to move left or move right or like parry the attack. But I think I'll be forgiven for wondering if this is a like an otome game. So I'm looking at the character designs here, and it's sort of all guys at the very beginning, and I'm like, what am I playing here? I mean, you know, nothing against otome games in general. I just, you know, right now I'm picking up games that I think look fun to play, and you know, I'm just not a big player of those. And but it's not. It seems like it's kind of a regular like galge. But the illustrator here is female, and she actually has gone on to do a lot of otome games and BL games and that sort of thing. So I think it's really interesting. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about making these videos, is just kind of learning about you know, these people and something of the history of gaming here. So the illustrator is Kazue Yamamoto, and I guess she co-founded this company, Ego, that developed this game, and she's gone on to start her own company, Debonosu Works. She's been invited to Anime Expo twice as a guest of honor. So very interesting development here on this game. So so this does have some kind of galge tropes. This girl invites you to make you dinner. So she's like, she's explaining what this is. She made him miso shiro, miso soup, and sashimi, and some, it's like this custard. It's called chawan mushi. So they're really playing it up like, you know, he hasn't had Japanese cuisine before, and she's like, yeah, this is sort of like country samurai cuisine, and you know, he's like, you want me to eat this? But it all works out well. He tries it and he enjoys it. So interesting seeming game. Apparently this is a tactical strategy RPG. I just haven't gotten to any of that gameplay yet. Next is Kanon. Here's another game by Key. This is a company whose games we have played before. I showcased Air on another of my Japanese pickups videos. This is their first game, and their first game as a company. From what I read, they left their previous company over a disagreement about where to go with their next game, and they started their own company. I have to assume that the game that they had wanted to make is this game. So obviously this is personally significant to the developers, and I think that it had a big impact in Japan. From what I read, it sold really well, and obviously it started success for Key that went on to do a lot of other things. You may know Air or Clanad or Little Busters or Angel Beats, I believe, is their newest thing. So a very successful developer, and I think this game has stuff that you can expect from Key. Really good music, just really good atmosphere. This girl here, seems like is really late. She's like, oh, the snow is piling up. It's like, you know, I've been waiting for 2 hours. So I guess this girl has really bad sense of time, but this looks like a very sweet game. It's certainly, the production values are great. I think a lot of heart was put into this, and I really think it's a shame that games like this have not been localized, you know, especially when the anime has been. This is also the origination of the Ugu meme, if you're familiar with that. This is kind of a mouthful. It's the War of Genesis Side Story 1, Rhapsody of Zephyr. So this game is based on the Count of Monte Cristo. which I will admit my lack of culture. I have not read that story before. So if you're familiar with that and you're looking for a game based on the Count of Monte Cristo, this is your game. Or at least I assume that it is. I don't know if there are other games based on it. So all I've really gathered about the game so far is that you play as this guy as the main character, and you have a group of guys. You're kind of storming this, what seems to be a prison, where somebody is imprisoned that you're trying to break free. So here you kind of swashbuckle your way to take down the guards here. And one thing about the text, this might be kind of unspectacular, but it's uncharacteristically small for Japanese text. It seems to be relatively readable, but it's the kind of thing where it looks like there's an awful lot of room to fit characters onto that text box. That's the kind of thing that localizing a game into English would be very attractive for this. You probably wouldn't have to mess around a lot with the programming. But we can see we have this kind of overhead dungeon view. And there's actually a run button. The walking motion is strangely slow compared to the running. But here we have a random encounter, and this is a strategy RPG. And if you're familiar with strategy RPGs, this is pretty typical kind of stuff. But the interface is interesting. It seems like it was made for mouse use, so you have to be a little bit precise with your pointing, but it actually translates quite well to the Dreamcast. Now this character, you can see, actually has a pretty long attack range, but we're moving right next to the character to attack anyway, and we won that battle. So this seems like a pretty cool strategy RPG. And finally, it is Typing of the Date. You've played Typing of the Dead, but have you played Typing of the Date? And really, who wouldn't want to play Typing of the Date? So we can choose typing lesson or date, but let's go ahead, we'll go on that date. And I think this is the first time I've had my Dreamcast keyboard out since I was playing Phantasy Star Online. So here we have a character select. We can pick Shizuku, Ayumi, or Makoto. So let's go ahead, we'll try Makoto on the first date. Like, oh, it's got a pretty good atmosphere. It's like, oh, welcome. So this text slides out and we start typing. It shows you the Japanese and the English characters that you're typing underneath it. So we say, oh, you are... She's like, huh? What? So we have 3 options again, and I just go for the short one. I'm like, oh, it's me. Or, hey, it's me. She's like, have I seen you somewhere before? Let's see, you were... So I say, oh, well, I guess, you know, my face doesn't have a whole lot of impact. She's like, well, you... if I remember correctly, you're in my same class, you're Matt, right? So I say, oh, are you working here part-time? So that's basically how it goes, and it's actually surprisingly intense. I guess engaging the part of my brain that understands Japanese and the part of my brain that types is not something that I do very often, and they do throw some hard stuff at you like this. So here I just screw this up, and we can see I lost a heart on the right hand side there. But if you do well enough, you get to complete your date. Here we find a cat in the park. I guess that's a nice way to finish our date. And I end up back in my room, and it gives a little self-evaluation here so we can see how we did. I got a rank B, and I guess this is maybe my mistakes, which are 9%. So not too bad. I would be lying if I did not admit that I was a bit disappointed in this game. Based on the premise, it just sounds super ridiculous and fun, and ultimately it's a little bit of a letdown, but it still seems like a fun excuse to break out your Dreamcast keyboard if you haven't had that out in a while, and certainly an interesting alternate to the typing of the dead. So those are my Dreamcast pickups. I hope that you enjoyed those, and I hope that you will join me again next time for some more Japanese gaming related videos. Thanks for watching.